Greenhouse update. I put a tarp over here to keep the sun off it just in case there's any algae in there. And I've also moved to a bloom formula, an A and B with a supplement of calcium, magnesium, CalMag with iron and other nutrients in there because we're moving on to fruiting. I think the beans right here may not be fruiting either because they are not being pollinated. I don't know how to pollinate them myself. I haven't figured that out yet. And maybe they're also lacking some nutrients because the leaves are starting to look a little bit weird. So hopefully that new formula will sort the leaves out here. I guess that's similar to what's happening to the cucumber leaves as well with all these little white spots. But I mean, they're doing great. They look really good, pretty healthy. And we're getting lots of fruits off them. Vegetables, whatever. Too early to pick. Lots of cukes. Those are doing well just with whatever pollinators are in here. I'm also taking off the male flower and self-pollinating the female side. So that's a female flower there with a little baby cucumber on it. If that doesn't get pollinated, then that just shrivels up and dies. These are the Romas. The Romas have experienced quite a bit of blossom end rot. So an example of that would be right here. So you see those guys? See how they're black on the bottom? That is why I've switched the formula to a bloom with the addition of the CalMag. So hopefully that will take care of the black on the bottom there. I think it will. They're still edible once they grow out. You can just cut that off and use them for your own purposes. If you're going to do anything else with them, then you'd have to make sure that they were saleable, but these are not going to be saleable. But they're going to make a great tomato sauce. So those are all doing really well. We're going to get quite a few Romas. The cherries, I'm also another reason why I've changed to that bloom formula. I got lots of fruits here, but they've been that color for about a week and that size. So I think they need probably more sunlight. I do have a shade cloth on here that cuts the light down by 50%. And also the nutrients might be an issue. So we've got all these ones here. See where those have fallen off these parts here, and that's because that they weren't pollinated. So when they're not pollinated, they drop the flowers and then they drop the fruit. No good. So these have all been leaned and lowered, as you can tell, as the plants are looking, pretty long on the bottom, and they gotta go up this way. Zoomy zoom. Too much vertical growth, too much vegetative growth, time to change the nutrient. So hopefully when we come back from Kelowna in 2 weeks, these will all be nice and big and red and ripe, and we can start eating them and giving them to the neighbors. Pepper plants. Again, no pollinators in here, so I don't know what to do. From time to time, we'll see what happens. Hopefully that flower will give us a pepper. I think the issue here with the lack of pollinators and what I did wrong this year was actually closing in the ends of the greenhouse. That just keeps everybody out, but we got that fan in here to draw out the hot water. Next year we'll just roll up the sides, or we will not put ends on, just use these as just a hoop house. These lettuces have been in here forever. I'm going on like 10 or 11 weeks right now, but they're still edible and they're still good. They're stretching a little bit. I'm not sure if that's due to the nutrients or if that's just because of the maybe some less light. I can't see that being the issue though. These romaines, I chucked them in here again. They are pretty white because I kind of gave up on the nutrient this week. We went camping, so didn't get to it. We got two, count them, 1, 2 at the other end, strawberry plants that have new roots. The rest of them died off. Granted, those were just pulled out of the garden and tossed in here. So these are still growing. I did do that experiment where I took them and just didn't bother putting them in a net cup, just threw them right in there. But you got nice roots coming out of there, and they've turned around. They're pretty stretchy and not a whole lot of vegetative growth. So experiment continues. I'm going to try the same thing with these guys here. These are, I did about 30 Butter Crunch and a new variety of red oak leaf. So we'll put those in here before we head out west. Celery seems to be doing really good. It needs more nutrients, so I've got that all sorted out here today. So they look pretty good. Not quite big yet, and we'll see what happens. Again, it's just an experiment, but look at those roots. Look at that, holy moly, that's amazing. Nice and clean looking. Awesome. This basil, we tried some of this basil today. It is just as potent as can be. Basil loves hydroponics. These little guys here, these, see they're so white. Not enough nutrients for tomato plants, but again, this is just an experiment to see what would happen. All of these that are in this trough were just pulled off as suckers and tossed directly into the water, and they've all grown. This has got flowers coming on now, but they've all got their own roots. It's pretty cool. That worked out pretty well. Over here to the watermelon. Ta-da! We got watermelon. So we've got these guys here, a good size. Look at that. Can't wait to see what happens to these in another 2 weeks. But that's doing really well. And again, I think that these are the only. I only got 5 of them. Decent one there. Smaller one that I just found the other day, right down in there. And then one more now somewhere else. But those are all because I self-pollinated, or I pollinated them. There's ants crawling over these, which are not really doing much to pollinate. So I've got a lot of these vines, especially over here where I didn't get any fruit at all. So I've got to take those male flowers off and get jiggy with the female flower, the female side of things. But they've got some other fruits on there. So that's it. That's working. Anyway, it's a lot of work. So that's why I think I need to take the ends off the greenhouse next year, and again have them allow for bees to come in, but they won't come in if the ends are off. So that's the greenhouse. TTFN.